Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 20 Minute Moat podcast by Volume.io. Here we talk with senior thought leaders and practitioners in the space of customer support to understand how customer support is evolving and how is tech enabling them to build delightful support experiences.
Today, I have someone with me who has seen the rise of customer success, the rise of customer support, and is working in an industry that has grown exponentially, forget quarter on quarter, but month on month as well. I'm pleased to welcome Fasih to the discussion today. Fasih, welcome to the show. Why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and your industry?
Thank you very much, Siddharth. In fact, I've been with the fintech industry for a little over 3 years now. Prior to that, I was with e-commerce, and I've been with customer experience for almost 2 decades now. I've worked with very good and vibrant startups before joining Cashfree. I'm currently with Cashfree close to about a year now. And prior to this, I've worked with brands like NeoX. I worked with PhonePe, and I've worked with Flipkart, right? Little about the industry, the fintech, I think has been doing great, and we've actually witnessed this right from the time that the demonetization happened to where we are today. I think this industry has fast grown, and it continues to grow.
Sure. So coming on to the fintech part of it, right? Like we all know, it's growing rapidly, and like I said, not even quarter on quarter, but month on month, right? Over the last 1.5 years since the pandemic has struck, what's been your insight as to how the industry has grown, and specifically how has customer experience has changed or grown over the last, till from the time pandemic hit?
Sure, I think it's a very nice question. I think the fintech space is one which is really encashed, during the pandemic period. I would like to, quickly take you through what the recent events. Maybe I'll talk about 2020, and that's the year one of the pandemic. We saw some major investments coming in the first half year itself in 2020. I would like to say that in the second half, we saw some major capital raisings from the likes of Pine Labs, Razorpay, and talking about these two companies itself, I think they raised about $100 million. Talking about, the growth overall, it has been fantabulous. Cashfree has been doing great, and I will talk a bit more about Cashfree in my subsequent questions that you may be asking. Basically, overall the fintech space has been doing wonderful. I would also like to quote about UPI as a space, right? I was just tracking some numbers, and I think the growth has been over 100% year on year. And just to quote a number, right, the overall transactions on UPI itself has more than doubled up, right? It was about 1.25 billion transactions that have happened the previous year to this year, about 2.73 billion transactions. So that's been huge and really big. So that's about how the fintech has taken speed, and during the pandemic, I think it has just been moving up and growing bigger and bigger. I think in the B2C space, people have really opted for digital payments and not wanting to actually, use cash and, use any other modes which really requires the touch of the device or touch of a card or touch of their physical wallets. I think that is one thing which is really driven. Secondly, I think it's also about, a lot of business, moving online, and, people paying, online and getting their goods and services, not wanting to step out of their homes. And I think that is one of the key drivers which has really driven high during the pandemic period.
That's pretty interesting, because we all when we talk about it in our circles, and we are all like, okay, pandemic must have pushed the fintech players, and it's like a statement that we make without any knowledge. But thank you so much for giving us the data and the figures around it, right? With a lot of growth, and you've been a part of e-commerce, right? And I'm just borrowing it from there. There was a famous saying that with a part of growth also comes a lot of pain. Right. And generally the pain is in the customer support side, because yes, there are a lot of queries and you're building it on the go, right?
Absolutely.
So Can you tell me what is customer support like in your organization? Could you also elaborate on the structure when it comes to the support section? And generally in a fintech, like help us break down what a structure looks like.
Yeah, I would like to take that question, more from a perspective of me spending some time in the last three fintech, startups that I've worked with, right? I think, first of all, with rapid growth comes, bigger challenges, and these organizations have called it as as a happy problem. More and more volumes and more business, and more than what they would have anticipated. So with that, right, there's obviously going to be load on the customer experience teams. And I think what would really happen is, basically, it goes through a survival mode to a mode of transition, where you're getting better and better, and then you actually come into an established mode. But to begin with, right, the structure in any fintech companies would be largely about how you actually respond to the end users, how you respond to your merchants, and how do you actually solve their problems. Let me talk about the various teams that get involved. The first and the basic team that plays a role is the line one team, or the level one team, which actually takes the basic queries and answers them. And I would say, having worked with various startup companies, there could be close to about a 95-96% of those queries which actually are answered and resolved then and there. But there are a good 5 to 6% of those queries which do not get answered instantly, and they have to be taken back to a backend team or a support team and have to be actually resolved. And I think this is where you actually transfer this ticket out, and there's another team, the level two team or the line two team, which kicks in, and it does those follow-ups with those backend teams and ensures that the resolutions are attained, and those resolutions are again passed on to the merchants and the customers. Another important thing has been the social media support, or in various organizations, it's also called the ORM team, or the online reputation management team. This has been a space where brands feel that they should maintain a good hygiene, they should maintain a good response system here, and keep giving the right responses. There could be a lot of customers coming and talking ill about your brand, talking about various bad experience, either with the product or with the services that you're getting. If you have a professional team which is having the right language, who can understand the sentiment of the customer and respond exactly with the way the organization wants it, and what you call it as the brand tonality. If the brand has actually given that particular description, or if the leaders feel yes, they have to be a very formal brand on the social space, then you need to actually understand that, and your team members on social media responses have to actually give very formal responses. But if you have a brand which needs to be a little cheeky, and it's okay to be casual, you have to actually be like that. But the key to the social media is about ensuring that you understand, and you connect well with the customer on the other side, and you're actually delivering those responses which really touch the heart of not only the end user who's actually posting it on the social media, but you're actually letting 100 or 1,000 of them feel nice about your response, right? I think so that's a social media team which is relevant in the fintech space. And then talking specifically about customer experience, there are a lot of backend teams which play a very, very important role. One of the teams is the design team. The design team basically, designs the processes in terms of, how a particular query needs to be actually understood. How do you think, you need to go and find more relevant information to that particular query on the systems, and then, going back to the right responses. But it also talks about, what needs to happen on the level 2 side, how should the query flow into the level 2, what exactly is the response that we need to fetch from those relevant teams, and ensuring that those resolutions are coming by this particular time and in a particular fashion. And then, you actually go back and close loop with the end users. I think the design team also is slowly controlling the overall knowledge and the way the responses are built. And this is a team which also works very closely with the training function in the customer experience team. Then comes, the training team, which actually controls the knowledge of the teams and, ensures that the right knowledge is actually passed on. People understand, the product, the concepts, and then also understand the processes that the organization wants to actually run. And then ensuring that the knowledge retention is there. Basically, trying to check regularly and passing on refresher trainings. There's another team which is the quality team, which is the team which I don't need to explain in detail, but this is the team which generally audits and understands, how good the work is, and if the processes are followed properly or not. And if the processes aren't followed, or if there is an error, those things are actually captured, and the feedback is actually passed on to the operations team, so that the operations team gets better on those particular queries, and comes out of these errors and delivers a better quality score. Not going further in detail, but the quality team has a lot that it can do, just not just auditing, and it's not a checkbox that they need to keep ticking, but also basically understanding how better the product can function, how better the agent can function, and capturing those needs in a very, very detailed manner, and passing it on to the product teams and to the operations team for corrections to happen. I think that is another important function. Yet another function which a lot of the organizations are still starting, I would say, is the analytics function. Basically understanding, what is really driving the volumes, what is causing the numbers to be really high on a specific type of a question. Then going in detail to understand, how can we actually solve this problem, right? For example, let's say that there's a particular query on bill payments, and you see that the volumes are really high. Then going into the details and trying to find out which particular operator related queries are coming. And in that particular operator queries, trying to find out what kind of queries are coming. Is that a fulfillment problem, or is there anything else which is causing a problem? And then, going back to those relevant teams and passing on those analytics, and then the business teams get into action, and try to come out of this problem, try to solve those problems at the operator end, or if there's a product problem internally, that also gets solved. And there's another backend team which huge customer experience teams actually would have to keep. But if these are startups which are having smaller teams, less than say about 30 odd people, then you don't need this function. This function I'm talking about is the workforce management and the real-time analysts, right? The workforce management is basically trying to understand what amount of people need to be put at at which day and at which hour, right? So they basically look at 2-3 things. One, they definitely look at what percentage of queries based on the kind of business transactions, or based on the count of active merchants are coming in, and then trying to plan that according to a volume pattern which they keep looking at in the recent weeks. And maybe the volumes are going to be high on a Monday in the first half, to a bit lower in the afternoon, to absolutely again high on a Monday evening. And then the volumes that way on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and seeing that the volumes are actually dropping by a Thursday or a Friday. And you don't need to be putting a linear staff. You can actually increase the staff or reduce the staff. So I think that's another team. Another critical team which is shaping up and is going to be the future for a lot of people who are looking at career is the bot administration team, right? Or in some companies, they call it as the bot function team, right? So what does this team do? This team actually, works with the product teams, or if it is a bot that is from a third party organization, they actually coordinate between the design team in CX and then with the bot product team or with the bot third party team, right? They actually look at how this can be integrated with some of the channels and ensure that more and more queries are cannibalized on this particular channel. And sorry, I would say how's it cannibalized, and the bot consuming more of those volumes than it going to the human beings. I think that's another important team. I've largely spoken about these various teams which are in fintech startups in a B2C kind of an environment. In a B2B, all of these teams also play an important role, but yet another team which is at the very beginning is the integration support team or the onboarding support team, which basically looks at how we can support integrations on our platform, how what I would say how integrations can happen better, and how onboarding can be seamless for the customers. So that's about the query that is on the structure of customer experience.
Thank you so much for that. I think from what I understood, it requires a well-oiled engine to run a good support and an experience center for any brand. And I think all the fintech folks listening out there, any entrepreneurs and any leaders, this is how you should structure your experience team if you have not done so already.
Thank you for listening in to our episode today. We'll be back with another interesting, thoughtful, and insightful episode shortly. In the meanwhile, you could check out our previous episodes on worloop.io/podcasts. If you're looking to build delightful support experiences, do reach out to us on hello@worloop.io. Till next time, this is Sid from worloop.io signing off.